John, is this the first episode we started with just you and me?
Could be. It's
It's
not up.
appropriate. It's
Yeah,
appropriate for the change.
you're gonna have to stop sharing. It keeps giving me
Oh
the
yeah.
message. All right, there we go. You can tell it's just you and I because we stumbled right through it. Hi everybody. Welcome to Drawing Hive. Should be a really fun night tonight. Um, Drawing Hive is brought to you by Visual Arts Passage. And just as a reminder, Visual Arts Passage offers resources for emerging artists to develop in the industry and painting and illustration. And we do a really good job with it. We had a great set of group of faculty members. And if you have any interest, check it out. So tonight, this will be fun. The House of Dragon. And I watched the last season. It was really hard. I watched the first episode the other night with my wife, and we had to go back and rewatch everything because I just realized how many times I fell asleep last year. And it's not that it's bad or anything. It's just
Yeah,
it's one of those. It's very dark. It's hard for me to see. It's
yeah,
usually late at night when I'm watching it, and it just kind of put me to, just one of those things put me to sleep.
yeah.
But I got kind of caught up, and we got some really fun reference tonight. Um, Let me move my menu here. I have to move it around the Targaryen clan here. Emma Darcy as Princess Rhiannon.
Just Rihanna. I like that.
It's hard to say. Damien,
Yeah.
and then my favorite shot of the night. I love that last shot of Tom Glenn at the bottom of
Pretty great.
whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And the dragon's a great shot too. So if you feel like drawing a
Yeah.
dragon, draw a dragon. As always, we'll do three poses, two 20-minute poses, and then we go to a 40-minute pose. If you want to do all four, you're welcome to. If you want to stick on one, go ahead. And yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah. And for anybody stressed out, don't worry. Other artists are joining tonight on the panel.
I
It's
can
not.
actually, you know what? I would just wait until the uh my little educational bit that I do. And I'm doing an artist tonight that's pretty
Yeah.
appropriate for this, I think. Not
Yeah.
exactly the same timeline, a little bit later, but it feels right. Um
You mean the fantasy timeline?
no, it's not good. He's not a fantasy guy. He was the real guy
Yeah.
painting kings and queens and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just love that people think that this exists in a real time.
yeah. Well, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
men were
Uh,
walking around with dinosaurs and dragons. Yeah, there's no doubt. Um, so,
can I, oh wait, never mind. I
yep.
wasn't going to get it right. I was going to try to guess who you're going to choose, but I know it's
No,
wrong.
don't you won't. I don't think you'd be able to anyway.
Um, I'll steal the screen
Go
for a
ahead and
minute.
steal the screen. I'll
All
turn
right,
on my other
cool.
camera because
Yeah.
I'm still battling with these materials that I failed with miserably last week. Nothing moved, but I'm going to change cameras here. And I'm using these, I started this about 30, 40 minutes ago and drew this up, and I'm going to try to obliterate that. This was my test run that I did for tonight. Did a really quick drawing. I'm using these Neo watercolor crayons. And then I move it around with, I got a really nice effect. I'm not there yet. I'm still figuring this stuff out, but I got a really nice effect, I think, on this one. And it moved a lot of the orange that I put down. And I just think I can eventually figure something out. May not be tonight, but I'm going to keep trying.
Before you dig into that, John, I'm actually going to tell people because I think I kind of skated past it on accident. But um, if you're drawing with us for the first time, I know we've got some UAR. I always mess it up. University Arts out of Philly. Welcome if this is your first time drawing with us. This is an interesting night for you to join because this is the first episode. It's just me and John, and I'm not drawing. But we got Adam
It's
Gustafson's going to be
questionable if I am. So
there. Well, Adam's going to be here in a minute, but please draw along with us. So we'll answer questions. We will talk throughout the night. We'll talk about John's going to have an educational segment coming up pretty soon. But also post your work on Instagram. We check out all the artwork at the end of the night. It's my favorite part. The hashtag tonight was already selected. It's hashtag House of the Hive. So we'll remind you in about 20 minutes when we switch to the next one. So John, so you have the base down for two of the images, right?
well, now this was my warm up.
Yeah.
It's I mean, if you really study it, it's pretty far out of whack.
Yeah.
This one I did a little bit, I spent a little bit more time. It's a little
Mhm.
clunky right now, but it's a little bit more accurate, but it's going to get really messed up. Hopefully. I did that last week. The goal, I had some success the week before playing around with it. And I really like that effect. And this was a pretty straightforward drawing to begin with. And then I really obliterated it with water and then went back in while it was still wet and drew back into it. And so that's kind of the effect I'm going for. And
Mhm.
and last week I drew it in which I thought I tested it and I went through and I was testing, all the colors to see if they moved around. And there's some that just don't move. The black that I used last week didn't move at all. And it didn't move at all again when I tested it. So I was kind of complaining about my drawing from last week, or one of them.
Um, I know some people are popping in the room a little late, maybe missed the start. Could you say one more time what medium you're using?
This is they're called they're made by Faber-Castell, and they're called a Neocolor, a Neocolor
Wow.
too. It's they're made by Carandash, and I long time ago when they first came out, I played around with them, and I had a couple here which were ancient, and they didn't they didn't react like the newer ones did, the fresh ones. So I went and bought a whole bunch of they come in with individual sticks, and I bought a bunch of them the other day, and just thought I would play around to see if I could, make something interesting happen. You know, all of the, all of, see if I can do this gracefully. All of that stuff that I did in pastel, and I've practiced it for a long time and have a lot of control with it. I want to kind of force myself to draw. Sorry to move that around on you, but to draw with a little bit less, be less careful and just be a little bit more playful. Part of my my makeup is of especially doing likeness as an illustrator for a long time. Was I get pretty involved and I go too far. So using things that are a little harder. I mean, this is literally like drawing a crayon. It is a crayon. I did a few weeks earlier, I used Senneliers oil pastel and moved them around with paint thinner, which worked pretty well. I liked it. They were really loose. Um, but I'll just see what happens.
And I
You
just
know,
want to let everybody know I just dropped a link. If this is your first time joining, dropped a link to the photo reference. Also, if you want to hop on Discord with us, fun place to connect with fellow artists and share your work throughout the week. It's also the first place we let people know about the reference and just the inside scoop on what's going on, which earlier when we started tonight, I said this is kind of a special night for me and John to be starting solo. It's because Drawing Hive is going to be changing a little bit for it's going to be pretty exciting. We are going to majority of the time, I'm not going to make any commitments I can't stick to, but we're going to have a guest on almost every episode going forward, which is going to be a lot of work, but I'm really excited about it. and July and August already booked up. So should be really exciting. And I'm just going to give everybody a taste of what's happening. And Tony Rodriguez, I think, was the
Catalyst.
yeah, he was the catalyst. I was like, man, that was so much fun. I think I was like 207 episodes. That's how many episodes it took to realize like we ran out of things to talk about. No, Tony made it so much fun. I was like, we should be doing that more. So Nate Schweitzer is coming on next week, which is going to be a really fun way to kick it off. If you don't know Nate, he's a visual arts passage student, but his career has been blowing up. He was just recently featured in communication arts. He's got a stellar list of clients. I might mess it up. I might say something that he doesn't have, but I'm pretty sure Rolling Stone is on that list, along with,
He's really good.
yeah, he does some awesome mixed media work. Um, communication arts had something, they had like a wild quote. I'm going to butcher it, but they were like, his mixed media style is like eternal or timeless. It was like, oh, that's a pretty good blurb to have as an artist.
So if I said this to me,
Yeah.
because it kind of relates to the story a little bit, it
Yeah.
was Sendiary.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
remember that from
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah. No, so we've got some really great ones. We got I'll just give everybody a taste of this month in July. Keith Knight, creator of Hulu series Woke, will be coming on. Amazing cartoonist. Miriam Martinsick. And then I'm actually really excited. Got Gary Veter booked. So we're gonna be doing the podcast Number One Dad. Gary Veter, the story of Gary Veter's, it's his journey to find his dad that he hasn't seen for 20 plus years. So
Cool.
it's a cool story. It's an interesting story. It's touching, sad, funny. It's all over the place, but that'll be a fun episode. But we got a lot of cool guests coming up.
Cool.
Yep. And on the topic of cool guests, Adam is here.
Oh, thank God.
Hey.
Yeah, John was getting nervous.
Bad night to be experimenting, Adam.
Oh, that looks cool. So, wow. Oh, and John, you just did that in like the 5 minutes before I joined?
No, I started about a half an hour ago. I did that, Adam. I did this one. This was really fast. And it
Oh, wow.
and I like, I like the effect that I'm starting to get from it with these neo colors.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, what if I painted this out flat first? And the artist that I'm showing tonight as my educational spot, there's one picture that I'm just totally thinking about that's influencing me. I can't stop thinking about it.
No. So now I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think it's one of the most important artists that ever worked. And certainly one of the most influential.
Ooh.
And he worked a long, long time ago.
I have a guess, but I'm going to keep it in my head.
I thought that this was not my guess after you started to elaborate, but I thought tonight's might be James Gurney.
No, I don't think we should do that without James Gurney.
Yeah. I'll put that on the list. He'd be a hard get, but I'll put him on the list.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, you never know.
Nice guy. He's done stuff with me before.
He actually did a workshop and talk at like the high school where most of my private students come from a few years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
there we
was
go.
because I knew the art teacher there. She like invited me into it. It was pretty neat.
If he can pitch his books, I bet he would come in.
Right.
And everybody should own one of his books anyway. couple of
There you
really
go.
great.
Yeah, everybody, if you do want to help with my new host initiative or special guest initiative, please always share this with your friends. 100% of Drawing Hive episodes are going to be going on YouTube. Now that we're doing that, there will be no vault to protect us. so it'll be important that you share those recordings with your art buddies so we can get James Gurney to hawk his books on Drawing Hive. Adam, what have you been working on? Is this your new webcam?
This is the new webcam.
That's pretty exciting. Look at that, everybody. See, I'm sending people webcams. I'm getting guests.
It's all for you.
It's all for you. It's all for, I'm a man of the people.
We work tirelessly to make the audience happy.
I go to bed thinking about Drawing Hive and I wake up thinking about Drawing Hive.
Timmy, don't laugh about that. That's happened to me a lot. What
Yeah,
did I do?
I can't believe I said that. Yeah. I mean, there's already 2 episodes on YouTube that I'm like, I need to delete that episode because I mean, the best example is like me and Tony talking about last week talking about AI. Like Tony brought up AI, and I'm like, there's no way that that's going to sound accurate like in a year. Not even in like 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, people will be like, can you believe he said that? So off. Yeah. Yeah. Adam, what have you been working on?
I've been working. I finished my book about aliens, and now I'm working on a book about trains. And hang on, I can bring this on the camera because I had to paint accurate locomotives and a crowd scene this week.
Oh, cool. Let me spotlight that so we can really get a good look at it. Oh, wow.
So this is at the Golden Spike, like, centennial. After the restoration of Big Boy number 4014, who is the main character of the book.
Very cool, Adam.
And so now I've only got 20 more to go.
Adam, tell everybody where you're located.
I am located in West Orange, New Jersey.
I know your history pretty well because I met you young, and Adam was actually a student for a short period of time at the Illustration Academy.
Yeah.
And taught him everything he knows.
Everything.
I'm just kidding.
I might not be. It was a formative experience.
Well,
Greg Watkinson technically taught me a good portion of what I know.
I can go with that pretty well. All right, I'm just dying to see if this is going to work at all. And I had a
Actually, one of my favorite, one of my more memorable interactions with you, Sean, was when I decided to stay for the second session of it, and so I had to write you another check. And I was like 21 at the time, so I'd never written a check with that kind of number on it, and I handed it to you, and I think I said something like, I've never put the decimal point there before. And you just gave me this look and you went, I'll teach you everything I know. It was kind of perfect. Now I send out checks like that once a month. That's
well, the value of what you're writing has changed a lot.
The checkbook is
Yeah,
that's going to be a historical item pretty soon.
that's true. When I say writing
Yeah.
checks, I mean it as a complete figure of speech.
Yeah, people are going to be like, wait, there is a time where you like you're routing an account number. It's like the most like you don't want it. It's up there with social security number. You don't want anybody to know it. But when you paid people, you gave them a check that had all of that information on it. Feel like, wait,
Here you
what? And they
go.
were like, yeah, you just had to trust them.
Yeah,
But don't share that information with anybody unless you're just paying them.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a pretty dated system. Or at least it seems that way. I don't know. Yeah. Um, John, what have you been working on this week?
Studies for big paintings.
Really?
Who's
How big?
well, I have this one behind me. It's 30 by 40. That's the study for it.
Oh, that's
Wow.
beautiful.
And then I did another one. It's here somewhere. They're both 30 by 40s.
Yeah.
I do them on cradles. This one's a little bit bigger.
Oh, wow.
That's 18 by 14, I think. And I don't know. I've gotten in a habit. I take just do little paintings and do big paintings, get rid of all my reference and everything, and just do the big paintings from the reference. I mean, not from the reference, from my own, from my small paintings.
Yeah.
And it really, there's something there. It's like I've solved all the problems in the smaller painting. And it just, I get I get a much better outcome. Which is not too much of a change in my workflow. I mean, that I did, the teacher in me can't help. See if I can find this. I did about 6 or 8 pages of this kind of stuff.
Here, let me spotlight that because it's a little bit
My
small.
my thumbnailing. That's the one up on the top left.
Yeah.
There were many others that, came before this. I'm just turning the page. Sorry, Timmy.
No, it's all good.
And, I go out, and this is my interpretation of things I see in nature. And then I take, shoot photography and take the photography and go through like a process. First pass is in Photoshop. And then I start drawing from the reference that I've worked on. But you got to get out there and see it. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah.
What do you get out of that opposed to say when you just like scroll through Google images?
It's not my picture.
Yeah.
I have no physical connection to it at all.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't get there for me.
What do you think like a person like me could if you did 2 images, like one a reference that you curated and then one you just was just given to you or you dug up, do you think that it would be there would be a tell?
Yeah, I don't think it would feel as much like
Yeah.
my picture.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did this, funny, last year I did 3 paintings for friend and actually my Rachel's father-in-law. And they have a home in South Carolina, Defusky Island, and he's a good photographer. He said, man, we just bought this home and I'd love to have a few of your paintings in here. And I said, hey, send me some stuff. And God, he sent me some beautiful reference.
Yeah.
And then I went down there and I spent a week down there shooting my own stuff. And I ended up, the first time I've ever done that, like collaborated with somebody, and I
Yeah.
did one of the paintings from his reference. I liked it. It was a fun experience.
Mhm.
There's a little bit of a disconnect compared to how I usually work, you know? So I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Are you picky about the type of camera you capture reference with that, or is it just anything to grab the image?
I just did. I think I told you how much fun I have going out into the
Yeah.
Flint Hills, into the only thing I took was my iPhone.
Yeah.
And I've had most of the paintings that I did a couple from Montana last year from stuff I shot off of SLR, but
Yeah.
most of the paintings I've done in the last, my reference anyway, has come from my iPhone shooting.
Right. I mean,
Some,
powerful machine.
well, it's just got so much information, you know, and
Yeah.
you shoot a little bit differently. And I think one of the better training grounds I had when I was learning, guess I'm still hopefully still doing that. But when I was really learning like how to shoot
Yeah.
reference and uh getting ready for my illustration career, getting some skill set together, the act of looking through an SLR camera with the lens it was like you learned so much about composition. You know, at the time it wasn't digital, so you had to
Yeah.
be really careful about the amount that you shot. I didn't have that much money to go and just shoot everything, but the experience of cropping and finding,
Yeah.
it's like looking through the viewfinder of finding things that excited you. I just think was an incredible exercise. And
I totally agree with you on that.
even if you don't pull the trigger, you know,
Yeah.
just looking, because everything's a picture. Then it becomes something. It becomes a composition.
I used to and still do roll my eyes so much at like people who shoot film, but I started shooting film like a year ago because I got two Leica cameras that were somebody was throwing them out, and I was like, I'll take those off of you. They were literally bringing them to a Goodwill. It was wild. I mean, these are a Leica, like an old school
Oh my
Leica film
gosh.
camera. Like I was like, no, 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 I'll take care of those. You know, you're talking about like a $2,000 camera. But I don't like the whole like film look or whatever. It's like, oh, whatever. But you're so much more mindful, like with your eye and your
Yeah.
composition and thinking, and and you're more careful. And I like that. I take a lot fewer photos on my phone now, which it's weird. Like you'd think, I mean, how often do you take a photo on your phone and you just never ever look at it again? You know? I mean, it just
Constantly.
goes into this black hole of like photos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is kind of a bummer because sometimes I've had a couple times with the Leica where I'm like, man, if I had just got my phone out, that would have been a sick photo. And the exposure on the Leica was terrible. And I totally like whiffed it. And it was like that would have been a home run with like anything digital.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah,
what I found when this happened to me, I was in Yellowstone
yeah,
and was there with the family, and they were getting really frustrated with me on the amount of time I was involved with my camera. And so finally I just started pointing my iPhone like in a direction and taking pictures, and then worrying about I knew there was something there I was interested in, but when you shoot, like when you look through a viewfinder, you're more careful, you do a lot more work. But just holding the camera up and shooting in a direction and then going back, it became a process of like, okay, why was I shooting this picture? You know, I was like asking myself, what was it about this thing that excited me? And so I'd start just playing, different croppings playing in. and trying to
Mhm.
zooming in and trying to find something of interest. And I actually had quite a bit of success doing that. I kind of enjoyed it.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I've definitely done that when, just those times also when you don't think you're hunting for reference, and then you drive past somewhere, right?
yeah,
And there's only so much so much you can play photographer when you're like on the shoulder of a road and you're actually supposed to be going somewhere.
yeah.
Everybody, I just want to say we are moving on to the second image of the night, the second reference of the night. So please share your work with us on Instagram. It's hashtag Drawing Hive, hashtag House of the Hive, House of the Hive, like House of the Dragon, but House of the Hive. And at Visual Arts Passage, please tag us. We're going to check it out at the end of the night. It's the best part of the show. Please do it now.
I don't know. I think Adam might be the best part of the show tonight. So
He's carrying it. He's carrying. No, I'm just kidding. Which, by the way, on the topic of special guests, I think we're gonna have a Salacuse negative collection tonight, or a negative collection night soon.
I just saw his recent post. The girl
Yeah,
with
check out
the
this
gun.
new. Yeah, check out that new find.
That was incredible.
How great is that? So, Adam, I don't know if you've been on when Salacuse came on for the negative collection. He, as like a side gig, he finds lost negatives at like flea markets that are like incredibly composed shots, or oftentimes like fantastic like historical moments. um and yeah, like Eddie Van Halen right there.
Yeah. Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I mean, um I've gotten a couple
Jimmy's
of these.
favorite, Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. You
Right.
say that like it's a joke, but
That's Sammy Davis.
but anyway, yeah, he's got some new finds. And so we might have to do a negative collection night soon.
Oh,
That'd be
that would be
great.
great.
He's entertaining.
Yeah, he is. I got introduced. I'm helping a friend of his out, and I was talking with him with an edit, and I was talking with him like 30 minutes ago, and I was like, I think you and I might be the only normal people that Salacuse is friends with. He was like, yeah. I was like, we're both civilians, man.
Then you find out otherwise over the next couple of
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, this guy's not normal at all. Yeah. It'll be something. Yeah.
Timmy, give me an intro, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, let's try it one more time. Let me try it one more time. There you go.
All right. So I thought this might be appropriate for tonight. Adam, give me your guess.
Was it Botticelli?
No.
Oh.
It was this guy.
Oh,
And
my favorite.
this is, when I say favorite, this is really all-time top 5 for me. Hans Holbein the Younger. His father was also an artist. So that's why he's the younger, and his brother was also an artist. That's a self-portrait of him. But I'm not kidding you. I look through his work a lot, and I imagine where it could be fresh and contemporary today. Can you imagine him doing like celebrity portraits in Rolling Stone? I mean, it would be just astounding. I mean, we all know him for this. He'd be at the end of his life. He became the painter for the king, Henry VIII. He did a lot of Henry VIII paintings, and all of the guard around him. He was born in the late 15th century, this is born so long ago, they're not sure if it was 1497 or 1498. Somewhere in that time period. And he died in 1543. And Adam, there we go again. This guy only lived, he produced so much, he only lived to be 45 years old. But just magnificent artist. I'm just going to click through. I have quite a few images I'm going to click through, but I pulled a lot of his drawings too.
And you get up close to his, and it's like looking for where the magic trick like reveals itself, and it never does. Like this one of Thomas More, his whiskers have light sources.
Yeah.
Like you get up there, and the stubble is catching light and casting shadows.
This is the stuff that just amazes me. I mean, because so many like I realized that you know, the person that I've shown Nikolai Fetchin's work in here, and how much I absorbed that work or tried to, how much I learned from it, and how great of a draftsman I thought he was. But this is who he learned from. Not they were time-wise, big time period apart, just mimicking and copying his work. He did a lot of Dürer and a lot of Holbein drawings. And Holbein was consistently, he's the first artist that I look back, and again, I'm not an art historian by any means, but the first one where I just think he was incredible aesthetically, but he paired different languages together. You know, his ability to put line and shape and then design at such a high level with his, the shape design, and he would do it with texture, he would do it with simple value, and he would change his mark making so much. And the contrast, and then I say this a lot to my students, is like in composition, I think what we're all craving is interest. And the interest comes from the differences. And this guy knew how to put a picture together with just really subtle differences, and they were just astounding. You agree with me, Adam?
Absolutely. And I love that we've got like there's one-to-one sketch to painting comparisons there. Like that was Thomas More a couple ago again.
Right. It some of my favorite painters, my father being one of them, totally, like at the end of his life, he was picking up his, playing games with his compositions and figures that he'd done. A contemporary painter that's still working, Manola Valdez, has used Holbein the Younger as a muse in some of his work, and it's just stunning. And it holds up so well. He was just a magnificent designer of pictures.
Yeah,
Some of every once in a while I look at a piece and I'll bring it up in a minute, but I'm just like, oh my God, it looks like a Chris Payne.
yeah.
But look at that thing. What a beautiful drawing. He had a
They're technically perfect, but they're so human.
yeah, there's a crudeness to them, there's an energy about them, and it's like he knew when to stop. I mean, there's just beautiful design. Taking that hair, making that hair a very consistent value to describe the shape of the head and the hat. It's just very smart stuff. Something that Fetchin learned from in a big way.
For those who don't know, what era would you place Fetchin in?
Fetchin died mid 20th century. So late 1800s to mid 1900s.
It's always amazing to John when you talk about artists from, I mean, especially this far back, just imagining, how the torch used to get passed from artist to artist. It's incredible, that like styles, like the idea of like a style or a process like crossing borders is, I don't know. I find that interesting.
Oh yeah, it's people going back and borrowing, learning from people in front of them. But this was kind of an exception in my mind, is that he was so far ahead of his time.
Really?
Oh my God, just of his concern with composition, I just think was beyond what anybody else had done at that point.
Yeah, and he's in this era where people are other stuff is still a little wonky,
Yeah, they had just figured out perspective.
right? Like
Renaissance.
Shakespeare here.
Wow.
Mhm. And then he's toying with it.
Yeah.
This is the pain. This thing just kills me. I look at this thing and I immediately think of Edward Kinsella. And I think of I think of, Degas and all of the being able to control value, the really busy texture in the beard against the flat silhouetted shapes of the cloth and the hat. And just the identifying something so well with value control like that. It's just gorgeous. Love that painting.
Oh.
Look at the line weight on that painting, on the drawing on the right hand side. It's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many here I haven't seen before. So wonderful.
I know I start looking and I just get sucked in.
Right.
And I'm glad I do. I mean, it's healthy for me. It's healthy for anybody. Suggest everybody do it. My goal is, educationally in this format that we have here, platform, just to introduce somebody to you that you might find interesting, and also you might know of contemporary artists that have, really used him as a muse. I mean, when I talk about, we talked about Bob Peak and Bernie and my father and their interest in the post-impressionists and interest in Fetchin, and then those people were looking at this guy. It's extraordinary work. This is one of my absolute favorites.
Oh, that's.
Look at the language difference of the line. The water, whatever transparent medium, egg tempera, I'm sure, or some kind of tempera painting. In the hair, the transparency in places in the hat and in the beard, and then the real detailed granular texture in the beard. It's just, there's so much interest with so little there. It's exciting.
Yeah. And that line work in the outfit is like, that just looks so modern.
Oh no, it's so great. Love this one. Always love this piece.
Wow.
He did, he was very influential. I mean, he did book illustrations, very limited, and he also designed plates and jewelry and all kinds of things that he was asked to do. But they said he had a huge amount to do with contemporary book design. That makes me think of Chris a lot. There's distortion going on, and he's having so much fun with it. Sure, it looks just like him.
It's like a lot of the other people we've seen portraits of here, got beheaded by that
man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I just kept thinking of how many rappers I know that this would work perfectly for an album cover for them. I mean, oh man, like anything by Rick Ross.
My father used the design of
Yeah.
this picture a couple of times.
Really?
Yeah. Look closely at the painting. I think it's one of the paintings that hangs out in your dad's office.
Really?
Uh,
I'll take a look. I'll post that in the
It,
Discord
it may
channel.
not be exactly this one, but that's the riff that he was definitely came from Holbein. Look how tight that is.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just perfect from top
Yeah.
to bottom.
That's so that is a rap album.
It's almost it's almost photographic. And to think, people
It's
were, I mean,
wild.
literally, high Renaissance, they were just nailing down perspective.
Right.
That did something that just goes, this is I think Henry VIII is a child. Or maybe his child. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Wow.
So this is the nice thing about like looking at art history with, painters and illustrators is we can't remember which wife Jane Seymour was, but you go like, but look at the light on her nose,
Yeah.
which is, what he was thinking.
That was a long time before she became a Victoria's Secret model, too.
That's right.
This was his wife, I think. Oh, no, that's his wife and children there. Could be the same. Maybe not. Very different nose.
Yeah.
And then this is one of my favorites. I just love the lost edges and the mark making. Just beautiful. That's the last one to me.
Oh,
Anyway,
that was great. That was really cool.
Oh, so many I hadn't
So
seen too.
give us the name one more time for anybody who tuned in late.
Hans Holbein the Younger.
Nice. And
He's a Swiss, Swiss descent.
then also just I appreciate this. Xander, I'm assuming put this together. I can't imagine it already existed, but here we go. I nailed it. I nailed it. That's Rick Ross Hans.
That's funny.
Yeah. Rick Ross owes Hans a thank you.
That's pretty good, Xander.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Xander's got a lot of time on his hand. I like that.
He's just fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was totally perfect for tonight.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Now I feel equal shares of inspiration and intimidation.
Oh, because you're competing with Hans now?
Oh, for the first brush stroke, and then I'll go back to screwing up my own picture again.
Yeah.
That was the Marshall Irishman thing of when I sit down, I start off on Goya, and within a couple brush strokes on Marshall.
I always laughed. My dad used to say this a lot, and I've said it on here a bunch, so I apologize. But he used to always say, in the first 5 minutes, I make art. The rest of the time, I'm just trying to save it.
Yes, I quote that one all the time.
And I know it's not his original quote. It's somebody he was fond of.
It's a funny quote in that there's so many people who have like their own variation of it. Like it's this, there's you could phrase it a couple different ways, and you're still expressing the same universal experience of you jump in to break an Olympic record, and then you're just treading water.
Well, the person that he got it from, which I'm sure he could credit who he learned, who he originally heard it from, or where he read it, whatever, was Alan Kober. My dad always credited Alan for teaching him that quote. You know the painter George Carlson, Adam?
I think I do.
I mean, he's like one of the greats, contemporary Western, but the landscape work. And he started off, he worked for 45 years as a sculptor. And then he started as a painter, got really involved in sculpture, and then went back to it. Went back to painting after his hands kind of gave out on him. And one of the more pleasurable things that's happened to me recently is he called me out of the blue yesterday. I returned his call today, and I didn't know this to this extent. I knew my father knew him, but I had no idea to what extent. And he said he was looking at some of my dad's work, and he felt compelled to call me and just talk to me. It was just a really, really nice phone conversation from an amazing artist. Super humble. He's like, oh, he goes, I'm an artist like your father was. He said, I don't know if you know me. I really laughed. You got my number from Tom Blackshear, which I got a big kick out of too.
Oh, wow.
I'm not working on this, but I'm learning.
So this is wild news. Xander's confirmed that the Holbein Rick Ross connection has already been made. That was somebody else did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no original ideas. I thought surely surely this is an original idea of mine, but it's not. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And that's why we're gonna have guests on in future episodes. Because we need that original content. Yeah.
Hey, you can't beat Holbein.
Yeah. Also, it's going to help us in the blame situation so much. We'll always be able to say, that was actually Nate's
Right.
Nate's fault. No. Nate picked a great theme for next week too. We're returning to the Bear. Season 3 starts next week. It's the premiere night of it, so it'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
So you can tune in for Drawing Hive, draw the bear, and then you can watch the bear.
And
That'd be cool.
Going to be
Yeah.
on with us.
Can you say that one more time, Adam?
And it's Nate Schweitzer that's on with us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nate.
he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I just follow his work, and for people who don't, his Instagram is like one of the most like generous like process things you can follow. Like you just you get these beautiful art, and then you get his sketches and his thumbnails and his thought process and thoughts on the art direct. It's yeah.
Yo, Adam, he contributed to the Visual Arts Passage blog about a year ago, and it's killer. It's all about process. It's I'll grab a link to it and share it because it's great. Just nobody's allowed to go look at it until we're done here. But it's a great one. It's called Pencils and Pixels: The Art of Tradigital Mixed Media. Shares this whole process there. It's really super in depth. It's great.
Oh, that's exciting that we're having.
He's a good writer, which
Ooh, that's nice, Adam.
Thanks. I'm trying to like get all the stuff without getting too fussy.
Hey.
And
Doing a good job.
but there's so much to get fussy with that, the nice thing about working with the webcam is there's this thing between me and my picture that I can't lean in close. Like this is actually drawing Hive, being on camera and drawing Hive has been really good for my process and that temptation to just get all like noodly and lose sight of the greater picture.
Most of the time it's that way for me too, Adam, but sometimes I feel compelled like to prove that I can draw. It's like, people coming in, like if somebody came in last week and saw me and they would be like, I don't know about that. That would be that's a little bit more difficult of a sell. But so sometimes every once in a while I feel like I have to tighten up and do something. And, and this is not it. But it's a good lesson though. It's like,
yeah,
to make yourself draw with something you don't have complete control of. Make it draw with something that like, even the fact I'm doing this in orange, that to me is like a help as far as getting me to get out of my comfort zone.
Funny, so I'm going to be doing so many of these train paintings this month that I'm going to be like, I had this, I'm working on this painting. I like how it came out, but the entire time this week I was going, do I have a comfort zone? I need to find that thing again. Which is, one of the marvels of illustration is that based upon a past success, you can be asked to do something that you don't have expertise. You have expertise in drawing, but you don't have expertise in drawing the thing you have to draw. And it's one of the things I love about it, but some like release on the side that can remind you, like, no. Sometimes you actually know what you're doing too.
I always got a kick out of Adam when, especially usually happened in like smaller markets. Like I would get a project, nothing wrong with Tulsa, Oklahoma, but it's not the art hub of the world. Well, maybe the Western world it is. It's where they have the Nottawa Museum. But as far as hiring illustrators, it wasn't New York City by any means.
Right.
But I remember getting a call one time, and I had done a bunch of still lifes, and they wanted me to do part of this. One of the images I had to do for them they wanted me to do was a still life, and I had a still life with grapes and cantaloupes and a wine bottle in it, and they were really wanted me to like, well, do you have anything that shows that you can draw apples? And I just thought that was such an odd, but not somebody that was accustomed to buying, artwork all the time, or illustration work, I should say. And so I just remember that thinking, well, everybody isn't in tune to it like we are, right? And
yeah, because it's funny for that's a great 19th century thing. I think you'd be perfect for this 15th century thing. Or hey, those are great cars. You do a great train. But for every one of those, there are, like you said, I once had, sent samples out to a magazine, like 3 out of 4 of them, and kind of said something like, we don't know if we have much use for your still life style, but your landscape and figurative style we might. And I was like, going, like they're just paintings of different things. There was nothing stylistically
Right.
different. But you know, and you do get kind of, yeah, these times where you have to like weirdly prove yourself in a way that you would think like, well, doesn't this look like I know how to paint? Um, you know, I should be able to just paint things that need to be painted, right?
Well, that's, you know, very, very similar. It's like, I always feel like if you can draw something, you can draw something else. You know, you can draw. That's not always true, though. People that do like really great anatomy studies or anatomy of animals, you know, they're just so proficient at it, and they've studied the anatomy so much more than people who haven't. And you can see, and it's pretty evident in
Right.
people's work that way.
All right, we're moving on to the third and final.
Right. Now that's, I think there's like a dividing line between like, you know, that my favorite college professor would say things like he was talking about someone's work and saying like it's very beautiful work, they did wonderful. He said, but it's all still life and landscape, and you know the figure is what separates the men from the boys and the girls from the women.
It's funny. All right, we're moving on to the third and final image for the night. So please post your work with the hashtags House of the Dragon. Don't forget the in there. House of the Hive. House of the Hive. Hashtag Drawing Hive and Visual Arts Passage. Please include that all in your caption. We're going to check it out at the end of the night. This last pose is the long one. It's about 40 minutes. Yeah, please post your work now. Don't wait till the end. That's my favorite part. And then I also just want to remind everybody, this is sponsored by Visual Arts Passage. If you're not familiar with the school, our classes, or our programs, we offer courses that put you on a path towards your career in the arts. These courses are in fine arts and illustration. Every class we offer is delivered live and online, meaning it's fully interactive. You get tons of feedback. You get incredible guidance. And it's not a learn how to draw. It's not like a learn how to draw hands or like learn how to do this. It's what do you want to do for your career? Okay, we're going to equip you with the skills, the focus, and the direction of every step of the way to get to that career. So it's very focused on professional development, building a portfolio for that career, and getting you across the finish line. So it is hands down the most hands-on, I think, education you can find as far as learning from people who are embedded in the industry. So we're enrolling right now. The summer semester starts July 13th. Adam, we're lucky to have you here tonight. Adam is teaching the intro class for the illustration program, which is very exciting. This is Adam. This is going to be your first semester. No pressure. We're really excited to have Adam teaching that class because, I mean, Adam, at this point, can I say it? You have decades of experience in children's books. Have you hit decades? Are we at the 20-year mark yet?
Yeah,
Oh, it looks like Adam is cutting out a little bit. Adam, you're cutting out a little bit, so I'm just gonna keep talking. But
I'll add a couple of things,
yeah,
Timmy.
go ahead, John.
Back. Adam has 30 plus children's books published and is just a consummate pro in the publishing industry. And you can see has an incredible skill set. He's kind of showing off there right now. So, and that first class, it's the act of making a picture with an art director. It's learning the process. It's the thing. I always tell this to people. It's like if somebody came to me and said, what's the one thing you could do to make me a better artist the quickest? And I always say, learn process, learn a process. And the illustration process is probably the most encompassing that I've seen. And people really figure out, you know, how to approach constructive picture making in that first class.
Yeah, and so from there, you really go down the path towards then applying that picture making skill, and then taking that portfolio and learning how to really put it to work in the industry. So we at no point do we stop and say, all right, good luck. Like our program, we take you to the finish line. That is our end goal always. And so as a result, the outcomes of our program are incredible. You
And
know,
you'll see next week.
yeah, you'll see next week because Nate Schweitzer, we are very proud to call a visual arts passage student. And we're also very grateful, Nate, for that shout out you gave us in communication arts. That was pretty awesome. Love to see it. Maybe everybody, all the other visual arts passage students, maybe take a note, because I mean, there's nothing better than that. It just makes us. It really solidifies what we're doing here. And if you're a more advanced student, I know we got a lot of you arts students here. Uh, if you're looking for something and you're past that beginner stage and you're still having trouble figuring out like why am I not getting work yet, we have more advanced courses, whether it's portfolio development, career development, that are all about exploring that.
The course that follows the process, skill, and craft class is ideation and visual storytelling.
Yeah.
And it gives you, it's the second half of what you need to start thinking about building a professional portfolio. It is the cognitive side of picture making, of visual storytelling. And so you're going to learn kind of how to apply the ability of interpreting text and chasing an idea, coming up with a visual solution. And truthfully, you know, illustration means to explain, and that's what you do a lot of when you're an illustrator. You got to give a visual solution of how something works or how a story's told. And having a process to help you do it is incredibly beneficial. And as Timmy was saying, we go from there to a portfolio class. And those are the two big skills that you need. And there's all kinds of, you know, maybe push-ups and sit-ups that you have to do along the way to get to a certain point. Our classes are meant to be, they can be repeated, and a lot of people do repeat them till they get to the point where they're working. You know, the ultimate goal and what we're chasing in our program is a professional portfolio. So
Yeah, and one of the things that's exciting is Adam, you know, we really try to keep things fresh and everything, and Adam is stepping up for process, skill, and craft, which means Catherine Lamb, who is an incredible editorial illustrator. Catherine is going to be teaching career development. So you're going to get this entirely fresh perspective on building your career.
Yeah, couldn't be a better person, Timmy, because Catherine has built an incredible career over the last 5 years, and is everything's current, accurate. It's not, you know, they're not coming to me and saying, John, no, you started your career in 1984. How'd you get started?
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more contemporary and accurate.
Yeah, John, you're going to be like, well, first you're going to have to go to an office store and buy a Rolodex.
That's right. And people are starting to carry these bags around that you can actually have phones in them.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So I will also add, if you're exploring like the gallery path, trying to figure out how to sell your artwork as an individual, whether that be online or through galleries or anything like that, we also have a fine arts program. And in many ways, it's a totally different direction, but it follows the same structure. And that structure is like what it really boils down to is just it's intensely hands-on. All of our classes are delivered live. They are a learn by doing experience. John, what percentage would you say of like the whole school is you getting your work reviewed or seeing other students get feedback?
A lot. I don't know
Yeah.
how, you know,
It's
we have,
not just the reason I ask is because it's not just like a sit here and listen and absorb. I mean, there's a lot of absorbing, but
yeah,
it,
you learn, the first thing you'll really identify your strengths and weaknesses, and you'll learn what you don't have yet and how to conquer,
yeah.
and fill the gaps.
Mhm.
And, and if you're really kind of a neophyte, you're going to learn the steps you need to take to get to the point, to bring your work to a professional level. Skill's the easiest thing to learn, I think. I learned how to copy something pretty early on, and I was pretty good at it and got me work almost right
Mhm.
away. The My ability to understand composition, I guess that's skill too, and properly problem solve and be more conceptual with my work, that came later. And it was a longer lift, but we really focus on the things that you're going to need to work in the industry. So portfolio is everything.
Yep.
You are what you have in your portfolio.
Yeah. Um,
I,
yeah, so it's
Timmy, I
enrolling
was
right.
going to add
Yeah, go ahead.
that Catherine and I spent part of the afternoon together today, wrapping all that up. It's so much fun listening to some of her ideas of experiences she had that she wanted to include in the class. It was really good. She put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, yeah, like there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I mean, John, you and I talk about this all the time. I'm always like, the more people you're talking to, the better. Just with anything you want to do. I just always think get a ton of perspectives. And um you don't want to over pollute it with people who don't know what they're talking about, especially if you're navigating a new field. So, that's what that's what the school is for, is just for, saying that this is a resource of people you can trust. It's a supportive community. Um, and I think one of the best aspects of it is you get surrounded by students that, it's like, I hear from students all the time that are attending some of the nicest art schools in the country that are really expensive. And they're like, yeah, I was in class last week and a student was sleeping. And like, I have never seen a visual arts passage student sleep in a class. Like, and I'm not, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying I'm above sleeping in a class. I did it, but
Maybe bring up a couple of next semester's guest speakers,
oh yeah, there you
because that's a
go.
huge aspect. I've always thought that when you're learning, especially industry art, you need to see as many professionals as you can.
Mhm.
And so, that's kind of what I've always prided myself on with the program, is that all our instructors, all our guest speakers are very notable in the industry. And so it gives the students an opportunity to identify how things are done, maybe a different path that they haven't even considered before. And I think that's very, very important.
Yeah. So here's a look at it. We've got Leslie Cobra Gentry, president of the Society of Illustrators. That might be somebody you'd want to know if you want to be a successful illustrator,
Yeah, you
perhaps.
don't you don't know the Society of Illustrators, the organization that's
Yeah.
curated American illustration since 1901. And it is, in my mind, it's still the best organization that
Yeah.
that organizes a show every year, and and curates contemporary illustration.
Yeah. I'll add to that, John. Like, you'll see trends, you'll see things that blow up. that become, you know, you think are representative of the industry, but man, they've got the history
First Hall
to
of
show
Fame
for it.
member, Norman
Yeah.
Rockwell.
Yeah. John Ching, an amazing fine artist, oil painter, originally from Hawaii. Really amazing artwork, as you can see, featuring animals, but they're kind of like these fantastical creations. Stephen Walker, a gallery painter, with an
Past student.
incredible career. Yeah. Audrey Benjaminson,
Huh.
incredible fantasy artist. Man, tonight would have been a
One of
shoo-in for Audrey. Yeah.
one of the most talented artists working.
Yeah.
Just one of the best.
And then Tyler Jacobson, fine
Yeah.
artist, illustrator, also a killer fantasy artist. Set a record at one point with Magic the Gathering as an original painting. For
Price.
Yeah, he got quite a bag out of an original Magic the Gathering painting. And then, man, Kyle Webster, maybe one of my favorite guests we've had of all time, uh, is just an incredible designer, illustrator, created the Webster brushes for Adobe, recently left Adobe, and is moving on to really great things. He's like a true entrepreneur. Like,
He
it's
is
so
that.
exciting to hear. It is so exciting to hear his experience. And, you know, one of the things that I always like, John, when you first talked with him, because we have a clip of it that's on our Instagram, but there's an aspect of guys like Kyle when I see their stuff and like see what they're up to. Cause he sold he had like a deal with Adobe for his brush pack, which if you're opening Adobe now, you'll see like Webster brushes. And there's a part of you that's always just like, I guess your life is just an avenue of green lights. And I loved hearing that, like, he was like, I approached Adobe like 5 times. And every time they were like, we have no interest in this. And his story is like, you were like, oh, you're like a perseverance guy. That's cool. I love that. You know, like he had a lot of speed bumps, a lot of like, you know, obstacles before he succeeded. So that's why we have all these guest speakers. They come in, they share their experience. None of their experiences are the same. Um, Many of them you'll find at the beginning of their careers, they thought they wanted to do one thing and they found a different thing. Not always, but that's a pretty common thread. Um, it just makes it so much more exciting. So that's one part of it. And then, I mean, in 10 weeks, you're going to have 23 classes. So it is hands-on. Um, so we can move on tonight, but I do want to just share a link because if you do want to schedule a time to talk, you've got questions about it, anything like that, I just dropped a link. Let's chat, schedule a time, and we can talk about your art, talk about what you want to do. And yeah, always love talking with artists. Adam is fixing his internet. So, John, how much of this image that you chose is just that you like about it that is just like the symmetry of it?
Big part of it.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes you just can't beat like just a straight on, but it's such an interesting face, interesting shapes of the hair. It's like the first thing I was trying to establish here. You know, that's kind of how I draw anyway, is I'm always trying to find the shape of things and worry about the overall shape more so than uh, any detail. And so finding the shape of the hair, I usually do that. I find an eye, then I start finding everything else. But it's all identifying the overall shape of things. Sometimes I miss. You're doing okay on this one. If you can, one of the things I always try to stress to people learning illustration, learning painting, learning picture making in general, and that is you have to, like, the way I see it, the way that people I've learned from have taught me, it's like you have to accept a picture as a collection of shapes on a picture plane. Learning how to control those shapes on the picture plane is what makes you, successful, what makes you a good artist. It's not, you can make really nice pictures with very limited skill. I mean, you can use cut paper and glue things down, and you don't have to be an incredible academic drawer to be a good illustrator. It's helpful. Some illustrators want to work that way. I enjoy drawing for sure, but illustration, it's like you can have a really good idea and just have enough skill to get that idea across to be successful as an illustrator. So learning the things that are the most important, the things that are going to help you the most, it's usually a little different than most people think. Most people, especially like I used to love seeing new students come into the Illustration Academy and listen to my father, and he would give them, suggestions, and they'd be like, what is he talking about? He's just, does he really even know what he's doing? And it's like, it just completely changed the way that they approached picture making, and they advanced so quickly from there. And it really starts with accepting that a picture's a collection of shapes, and you can control those shapes on the picture plane. Adam, are you back?
I think I'm back.
Adam's back. Adam,
I'm back.
I told you this is our last episode for quite a while without a guest, and you got to soak up the spotlight, and you're having tech problems.
I draw attention to myself in all the wrong ways.
Yeah,
It's that new camera.
it
That's
is probably
I was thinking,
the
like,
new
Timmy
camera.
gifted me this amazing malware, and
Yeah.
There we go again.
Yeah, I know. Either he cut out or he just didn't know what to say.
did I cut out again?
Yeah, you did.
Really?
I think I'm gonna be sending you 100-foot long Ethernet cable this week.
Yeah, that's that's
That's a signature visual arts passage solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ted Kinsella, Cassandra, they all have 100-foot long Ethernet cable that I send them. It's nice.
It's been behaving too long.
Yeah.
It was due to disappoint me. And of course it's like the night where yeah. So Adam, what do you think?
So what do you think? And let's send it over to Adam with the weather. Yeah. What here's a rec for tonight, or a rec question. What's the last great art book that you guys have stumbled across that you think of? Not like the most recently published, but the most recent one that you opened up and loved.
Okay, so I haven't barely started this, and the call I had today with George Carlson, unbelievable successful artist. He's 84 years old, and he told me to get the Rick Rubin book.
Oh, you got that? Yeah.
So that's 84 years old, and he's telling me. I just thought,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting.
Right.
So
did you get it?
I've ordered it.
You ordered it? Okay. It's a great book. It's awesome.
I've heard that from so many people. I have to read it.
Yeah.
It's funny. As I pick up, I'm the biggest offender of this. You talk about somebody that just looks at the pictures. I've been going back and reopening books and reading more about. I just picked up looked at a Mead Schaefer book, a Kobe Whitmore book, and I started paying more attention to the text and not just drooling over the pictures. Both of those are mid-century, early century, mid-century illustrators from last century.
Wow.
Very influential illustrators. They had beautiful books done on. I was fortunate enough to meet one of them, Kobe Whitmore, when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
My dad was a big fan of his work, and turns out that, well, they knew each other. Let's put it that way. And I got to tag along a couple of times.
I've been thinking a lot about I have a book, it's a catalog of a Goya show called Goya's Graphic Work. And so it's all of his like etchings and aqua tints and lithographs.
That would be
That
great.
was on my mind, like just the last couple of days, it just kind of popped back in.
I have a book I lost. I think it was a victim of the flood, Timmy.
Oh yeah.
The Great Illustration Academy flood. And
Yep.
it was a book I had on Degas, kind of monotypes and prints of landscapes. It's some of the most beautiful stuff. And it's was kind of a treasure because I've never seen the book anywhere. I found it in Rizzoli's like 30 years ago in New York bookstore, and I've never seen it since.
Yeah, that sounds like a flood victim.
And we were in class the other night, Dale, and we brought up the Dale and I are in study hall, and had to get the Bernie Fuchs book out. We were talking about something.
Which, for anybody wondering, this is like the midweek check-in for our program, for our courses.
Yeah,
Sorry, John, go ahead.
it's okay. And so in the middle of it, one of the students just yells out, "Oh my God, I Googled the book, and on Amazon, it's $1,100."
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, they didn't print enough.
Yeah,
And
art books are crazy that way, right?
Yeah.
his book goes for $1,100 right now.
Yeah, there's this great book of the painter Frank Auerbach. This
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's this monograph of his where at some point there's like a frame by frame of him doing a charcoal drawing that he's just working like, and it's just got every phase that it goes through from like, you know, where he blows through the paper because he's erased and rubbed and scribbled so much, and like glues another piece of paper over the hole and keeps going. And I've been trying to find this book, but it's like that. It's like every copy I find is, you know, used condition $1,000.
My favorite cookbook is really expensive now on Amazon. I bought it on Amazon probably 4 or 5 years ago. It's called Italian American. It's Martin Scorsese's mother's cookbook. It's
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
it's a lot of the food. So
On the set.
yeah, she cooked for set. She did craft services for all of his movies when she
Yeah.
was alive.
I had heard
And
that.
then yeah, and I mean, talk about like it's one of the few it was one of the first like truly like Sicilian American cookbooks that I think like really was just like it was just like Sicilian. And it's so funny because it's like full of like Joe Pesci and like just all like that whole scene, you know, in like the 80s, 90s. And then like part of it is like her interview with like Johnny Carson, you know, is like in the cookbook, you know. It's so like hodgepodge, but I think I got it for like $2 a few years ago, and now it's like a $90 or 50, you know, it's more than I would pay for like an Italian cookbook, but it doesn't compete with your art book. But it's
I don't
still
know. Sounds pretty
unpalatable,
good.
you know. But I remember my dad, because my dad, John, like would print books every once in a while for an artist or somebody that like you know, he mostly did commercial printing, but he stepped into, you know, he did books for your dad, and
Yep,
I think he did books for other artists. I think he did a George Pratt book. Is that, am I
he
right?
did. Yeah.
Yeah. And his advice always to
Actually,
artists, what's that, John?
didn't he do like two, they were like little perfect bound. I thought there
Yeah, it
was
wasn't a book. It
one on
was a,
paintings and one on a sketchbook.
your dad's book was a hardcover, correct?
The one
Was
your
it?
father did of my father was for
Yeah.
the museum, the Nerman Museum here in Kansas City. He did the catalog show, which was basically, it was a perfect pound book. It's like
Yeah.
60 pages long, but it was just the work that was in that show.
He always had kind of like a come to Jesus, not with your dad, but with other, I know he did this with other artists who were less established, and he would always have like a, and also this was like not their focus there, like with
Right.
what he did, especially in later years of the printing company. But he'd always kind of have this like come to Jesus talk that I saw maybe once or twice, that was like a, hey, whatever number of prints you think you need to run, it's it's about 1/5 of that. Because he goes, because if you do all of them, the next call I get from you is going to be about storage for all of these prints. You know? And so you'd always try to talk him down. And I always thought it was interesting because you guys were even talking, we're talking about like these like secondary market prints. The thing that's kind of the bummer about it is like the people who produce those books that are now like $1,000, they're not seeing the benefit of that.
Oh,
Like, right?
No,
You know? And
this was actually David
yeah.
Zimmer out of St. Louis that printed the
Yeah.
book.
So I think the pro move is print your book, print way less than than you actually need.
Yeah.
And and then and then hold on to like 1,000 until that market. And then this is when you start just creating random Amazon accounts.
Well, first, it's like the Steve Martin joke. You know, you
Yeah.
want to get rich. First, you need go out and make $1 million, and then,
Yeah.
well, go out and get good like Bernie Fuchs, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
print a book.
right.
Yeah. But no, there was there was always a lot of projects that they printed and really great ideas, and it was
Yeah,
always a,
there was also the reason your dad had artwork hanging all over his, because people were paying him with artwork or trying to.
he loved to trade.
Yeah.
Loved to trade. Yeah. Yeah. The guy, the vet that I took my dogs to forever, it was a trade. And then one day it wasn't. One day I had to pay the vet bill. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta find a new vet. I was like, is everybody with dogs taking their dogs to a vet like this? It was like a rude awakening.
You'll get
Yeah.
a kick out of this, Timmy. The very first project I did with your father, walk down in your mother's house downstairs in the basement and look at that elephant painting. That's
Oh
where
yeah.
that's where that came from.
Wow. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, martial
I,
arts.
I actually was trying to pay him, and he goes, "I want that."
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was being nice to me, as he always was.
Uh,
Well, most of the time.
yeah, I was gonna say you guys selective memory, man.
No, but he was
Yeah,
always nice.
you got, what is that? The yeah, where, yeah, I don't know.
The Mark Rudin perspective.
Yeah, yeah, the captive that becomes the best friend. Um, yeah,
Stockholm syndrome.
But
yeah.
he,
I was gonna say Munchausen, but that's a different one.
yeah, yeah, but he was always nice to me though, Timmy. I
Yeah,
mean, even when he was mad at me, he
yeah, yeah. I know that. I know that.
was always nice about it.
Um, Yeah, the trade, doing a trade is always, I I did one today.
Cool.
I did a trade today. It's always worth it in my opinion. Yeah.
Best trade I ever made with my art was paying my son's orthodontist his braces
There you go.
for one painting.
Yeah,
At the time, my paintings weren't worth what that cost. It was it was very helpful to me.
that is, yeah,
That was a
You know,
good one. But you never guess where they come from. You know, every once in a while
yeah,
somebody will say, I'll trade you. Not too
yeah.
many construction guys that want to do that.
Yeah, that's always the thing. That's my go-to.
Where I spend my money, yeah, right.
That's my go-to. I'll be talking with a contractor or anybody that does anything that I need. I'll be like, you got a kid that wants to go to art school? Giano will always be like, that's the most Italian thing you've ever done.
Well,
Yeah,
that's really beautiful, Adam.
oh, thank you.
it really is.
I
That
just,
what you did when you logged off? You just
Yeah, switch pieces.
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I'll give you the my favorite George Pratt joke became and it still is. If he sees something of mine, he'll call me and he'll say, John, I just wanted to call you and tell you that last piece I saw is really, really good. And there'll be a pause and he'll say, for you.
Yeah, just getting
You
their
think you're
head.
getting a really heartful message from him, and then it will be no for you.
Everybody, we got 5 minutes left in this last one, so
I got just enough time to obliterate this thing.
get in the zone.
My musician friends have like so many backhanded compliments that we've learned over the years. And sometimes you learn them because people actually use them on you, and then you go, wait a minute, that wasn't really a compliment. So, I'll finish the show and the drummer will be like, man, I could totally tell what you were trying to do there. Or he'll his other favorite one was the like, man, you sound really great. Like not tonight, but usually.
I that's a good time for me to. I should have said this earlier, Adam. Adam's a very accomplished musician, and in fact, I listened to your recent post.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, when it comes to getting advice, I heard I think this was Bill Hader said this, and Bill Hader, the comedian, actor, and like a really great, like he created that amazing show, Barry, right? But he was like, when you get negative feedback, right? Whether it be constructive or whatever, he was like, when people say something's wrong or they like complain or say they don't like a certain thing, I've I've learned this and I love this. He goes, it means something is wrong. And so you just need to take that and you need to take that information, that feedback and like and say, okay, what's wrong? Everything they say after that, which is usually going to be a prescriptive answer of this is what I think you should do to solve what I think is wrong, because that's always garbage. He goes, throw that away. Don't even, if you can, don't listen to it, but get rid of it. It's 100% of the time, it's bad advice. And he goes, but oftentimes what would happen with him is he would hear constructive feedback or whatever. He would get the feedback and then hear the proposed solution. And the proposed solution was so bad, he would throw out the whole thing. And he learned, well, if you just don't listen to the solution, because the solution is rarely correct, but just accept that they are identifying a flaw, you can start to fix it without, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, essentially, when you bulk them. So I always appreciate that. I don't know. Did you guys have trouble? Like, I mean, I don't know. You guys are not late in your careers, but you're deep into your careers. Do you, do you, I'm trying to think on the fly here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
talk your way out of that one.
Nah, I mean you're
I,
deep
I,
in Chris. You
I'm,
have
I'm,
many years
I'm
of
not
Chris.
going to hide the fact that I'm 63 years old. I've been doing this for
Yeah.
40 years as a career.
But do you ever ask people that, like, do you ever just like, I mean, I don't know, like, hey, what do you think of this? And then how do you process feedback?
Uh, the Bill Hader thing you said is actually really, it's kind of spot on in a lot of ways. And it's like really good. There are really good teachers out there who can give like good prescription. Like I remember, like John's dad, Mark, could say things to me that in one sentence were the right prescription for what to fix. Charles
Yeah.
Santori took a illustration of mine, once put tracing paper over it and made like 3 little marks with a pencil that fixed it. You know,
Yeah.
there are people who can do that, who do these like amazing diagnoses.
Uh-huh.
In most cases, though, that thing is right of going, they'll tell you that something's wrong and it is wrong, but you do need to like figure out your own way to resolve to re-identify it and resolve it.
Yeah.
Adam, react to this. It's like, I think the best way to get somebody there the quickest is to start with what they're doing right.
Mm-hmm.
Keep pointing out the parts of the work, of the things that are successful, and build out from there. Beating somebody up about what they're doing has always been hard for me. I always want to encourage somebody and trying to find the good of what they're doing. And you almost always can. And then just say, yeah, you need to take this, and this is where you need to take this to. But pointing out the good stuff is, I think, the best way to approach it in my mind.
Yeah. And it's funny, like the best art directors are really good at that too. Are so good at that every now and then, if an email starts out positive, there's a part where it goes,
Yeah.
oh, what's wrong with it?
Uh-huh.
It's coming. It's coming.
Right. The nicer someone is with what I've done, the more I start to go, uh-oh, what are they going to say next?
Oh, I used to prefer like the real delicate delivery of negative feedback. And now I just really prefer, especially now I've been editing on the side quite a bit.
Mhm.
I prefer so much more just a really just like even clumsy, like this is what I don't like.
Right.
Like, but that's just me wanting like more just like straightforward communication. Um uh I think that's why I get along with Salacue so well, because like like zero soft skills when when it comes to that. He's just like, this is messed up. What is this? Like, I like that. Um, but it's interesting. There's a book that is actually required reading at um like at the corporate level in Netflix, and then Google as well. And it's about because there are companies that have an international, like thousands and thousands of employees, and they all come from like unique backgrounds and different countries and cultures and communities. And the book is all focused on how different cultures communicate, and what like what communication skills are like most valuable in like in relaying and like making sure your communication is like productive and positive. And like one of the things that like works really well in like in America, and this is I'm regurgitating what I read in a book, so this is not my like personal walk away with it, but was that like the compliment sandwich goes really far. Like it allows you to like get across what you're trying to say. Um and one of this was like a case study in the book, but like in France, it they like French creatives, and it's a generalization. It's and I want to be clear, I'm regurgitating what I read in a book based on like, group studies, was like a French creative would find that like infantilizing. Is it infantilizing or fantilizing? They found it like they felt like they were being treated like children. Like it was just like, just tell me what you want. That's, I guess, what I'm saying. So it's pretty interesting how that works. Like what makes you, I don't know, thrive or crash. Because John, you did sports. I mean, and I think I was at the tail end of this. I think I thrive on like a mean coach, which I think most coaches were pretty mean back in the day. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a stretch where I used to seek out like the meanest whoever, and then
Yeah.
one day I think I realized I think it was probably in the course of teaching and then in having my own kids and having a life that was like,
Yeah.
some days your life is difficult, and realizing like, yeah, I don't think I've got time or energy for people to be mean to me too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's the healthiest way to do it
Right.
for sure. I wouldn't be like, there's no way anybody'd be like, I want to get better at something. What should I do? There's a 0% chance I'm going to be like, first, you're going to need to find somebody really mean.
Right.
You're going to need to find your whatever, Phil Knight. I don't know. Um, Everybody, we are getting close to the end of the night. Please start posting your work. It's hashtag drawing hive, hashtag house of the hive, and at Visual Arts Passage. Start posting it now. We're going to head over to Instagram in 5 minutes. So start posting it. Don't wait. Um, don't wait. Don't wait. It's the best part of the night.
Oh, John, I love how that one's coming out.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, he's got such attitude, such an awful attitude.
Well,
Oh, beautiful.
I just love like taking this brush and just obliterating it and letting it go away, then trying to pull it back together a little bit. Still, I don't have a real deft hand at this yet, but I'm going to keep working this way for a while just to see if I can figure something out with it.
I think I might just join the club of the people who choose one reference piece and see what they can pull out of it. This has been kind of nice to stretch out on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, Adam. It's going to be a time lapse. I'll tell you that. Everybody, you're going to see that as a time lapse this week.
Yeah, whose was I watching? The Dales. I saw that. I was like, whoa, we could do that. That was really nice.
Yeah,
I
Dale.
really enjoyed watching Dale's time lapse today.
Dale's a little TikTok. He's a little TikTok celebrity. Like his video, we put a time lapse up. I mean, like our TikTok, Adam, has like 300 followers, and
We're
I posted.
huge.
We're huge. We're a big deal on TikTok, and posted a video by Dale a couple weeks ago, or this is probably a couple months ago. It's like at 500,000 views right now. So we're moving him out to LA. We're buying him a house. We're gonna make him live with a bunch of influencers,
Mhm.
and
Oh, I think you like that.
he's gonna fit it right in.
You know, the funny thing is he probably would.
You really would actually.
Anybody I know, he would be able to the one to be able to pull it off.
I was pretty excited. I was gonna go to that birthday and it got canceled. But yeah, Dale just had his big 60.
You would never guess it.
I know.
That's what serious staying diet and exercise will do for you. He's the poster child for that.
Oh, I always think it's so funny when I first met Dale in Detroit at Icon, and I can't remember what brought it up. You brought it up because Dale was like a runner, and you're like, Timmy ran Division 1 track for University of Portland, and Dale looked me up and down and said, "Really?" I felt like I needed to like pull up my stats. It's so funny. Yeah. He has a no bullshit detection that's pretty solid in my opinion.
Adam, this gets even better when the paper's just slightly wet and you can draw back into it
Oh,
because it really makes a line
yeah.
and you can go real soft with it. Really liking it.
I'm going to, I was thinking about those this week too, actually while working on trains. Partly because there's so many, there's so many straight lines, right? And then there was this part of me that went, wait a minute, if I got a couple of those water soluble crayons that John's been using,
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
figured there was going to be some kind of zoning regulation.
Yeah, you've already signed the contract, man. You don't upstage John with the materials.
We are going to be heading over to Instagram any minute now. I do want to just tell everybody, if you do have recommendation on guests, please always feel like free to direct message me. We're going to be booking a lot of them for the year. I'm really excited about it. To make this an endeavor that we continue to do because it is believe it or not, it's a lot of work. As much as we make this feel like a hayseed operation, it's a lot of work.
That just shows you how good of a job we do.
Yeah,
We're just trying to make people feel comfortable, not do it, not be too slick with
exactly.
anything.
100%. But it will mean a lot if you always share this with art friends, because it goes a long way, and that's why we are going to get better at posting the recordings. Yeah, so just help us spread the word. We want to make this more available to more people, and I think the education value of it, of having these guests on, I think y'all are gonna love it. It's gonna be high value.
Wow.
And we'll have some old
There,
school.
Adam.
We'll have some old school episodes every once in a while where it's just the crew.
Will make you miss us. Man,
That's beautiful.
oh, thanks. I'm kind of excited about these warm, reflected light bits.
I probably should look. I never looked at the color image. I just looked at my black and white reference. I
Yeah,
probably should.
Yeah, I mean, when I first looked at it, I mostly saw like lots of cool shadows. And
that's what I was drawing from, this black and white.
Oh, nice.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's scope it out.
Right.
Looking great. Oh,
Look at that.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. Nice.
Wow.
Very good.
That's awesome.
There you go, Felicity.
Felicity is definitely a future guest.
That's right.
Whoa, Xander.
Look at that.
That's really cool. Man, that eye.
Oh, nice.
That's fun.
Nice.
Randy.
Oh, Randy. That's cool.
Randy, don't be too mean to Nate because we're having him on the show next week. Take it easy. Oh, that's awesome,
Oh,
Eric.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Wow, good stuff.
oh, nice, Terry.
What was that?
Whoa,
These-
That's
good
fun.
stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nice, Bella.
Oh,
Uh
Wow.
huh. Ooh, I love the volume in those lips.
Yeah, it is. Right.
that's nice.
Nice.
Pretty.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Oh,
Well done.
yeah.
that was really nice.
Very fun.
Oh,
I guess did we leave that one up there, Timmy? And
Yeah, we just did. We just
Okay.
did it.
We just added another one.
Yeah, we just added it. So they all followed their heart. Oh, that's awesome.
ooh,
Love it.
That's very interesting.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Great shape
Stuff.
there.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
Very good.
That's so
Oh, wow.
great.
I love that little curl at the bottom of that,
Yeah,
that line word. That's beautiful.
that's amazing.
Nice.
Nice, Terry.
Terry. Nice.
Oh, cool.
Great.
Very
Ooh,
nice.
yeah, nice light up there.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that was a great reference.
That's, yeah.
I love that.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I
That's
love it.
so awesome.
Fingers.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, good stuff.
Wow.
Oh, that's lovely.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ooh, nice. Nice forward lean there.
Wow. Nice,
Oh.
Gary.
Oh, Gary. Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome,
Oh,
There
Sally.
you
wow.
go, Sally.
Whoa.
Oh, Sally,
yeah.
that's fantastic.
That's great.
That's
Very
so,
cool.
How many magazines do you have laying around? That's great.
yeah,
That's fun,
Nice.
Nicole.
nice, Nicole.
Cool, Aaron.
You guys are doing such a great job with his sneer.
Yep. Nailed it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
nice surfing surface there.
Fun. Good.
Good job.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go, Jeff. Oh, I
Nice
like that
dragon.
hair.
Nice little dragon. Yep. There you go.
That's fun.
Nice.
Good sneer.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
So many good interpretations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love seeing how people are
Wow.
interpreting that.
Really good, Nicole.
That's neat.
Whoa.
Wow, AJ.
Go, AJ.
That's really cool. Ooh.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nicole?
That upward tilt of her face was tricky.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whoa,
wow.
Pete. Hell yeah. That's awesome, Pete.
Nice, Melissa.
Wow.
That distortion is amazing.
Yeah.
Love that.
Took what was working and made it even better.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
That's
Nice
lovely.
job.
Wow. Good
Good
stuff.
job.
Yeah. Ooh. You can really feel the thrust of his head in those shapes.
Yeah.
That's direct. I like it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Nice.
All right. Good. Whoa,
Ooh,
AJ.
nice, AJ.
Wow.
Does it again.
Again.
That's
great.
really nice.
Cool.
Man,
Yeah.
A lot of talent tonight.
Oh, that's nice energy there.
look at that. That's
Oh,
all-
awesome.
cool.
Hey, Padma, welcome. That's awesome. Thanks for posting. Great stuff. Whoa. Whoa,
Wow.
Oh, Pete, jeepers.
Peter.
Pete. Jeez.
That's gorgeous.
That's fun.
Aaron.
All right, you guys ready for this next one? Because it's our guest. Nate,
Ouch.
dates on next week.
Look at that.
That's gonna be, we're gonna get to see this in real life happening, or we're gonna get to watch the process. Be good.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So's that.
Ooh, lovely.
All right.
Jeff.
I appreciate Nate tuned in. Do some homework on his episode
Right.
next week.
Get a little practice before he
little
comes.
little practice. Get familiarized with the format.
I love
He's like, wow, there's no format. That's what he said tonight.
You're looking at it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Marcy.
That is a good one.
Ooh,
That's nice.
yeah, very sensitive.
Very nice. Good drawing.
Whoa, that's perfect. That's awesome. Such a
Excellent.
creative idea.
Right.
Awesome. That's cool.
Good job.
Nice.
Wow.
A lot of people tonight. I love it.
That's
Good
Nicole. That's
stuff.
awesome.
Ooh, nice armor there.
It's good. Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done. Good drawing.
Oh, oh.
A lot of people posting tonight.
Yeah, no, it's stacked. There's a lot of stuff. Oh, nice.
Nice.
All right, that's it.
All right.
Everybody, thanks for drawing tonight. Just a reminder, summer semester kicks off July 13th. Several classes are already scheduled to sell out probably in the next couple weeks, so don't sleep on it if you are planning on joining us. Like I said, if you just go to our website, just go to /schedule on our website. You could set up a time to chat with me, with John. We're happy to answer any questions you have. John, Adam.
Just Timmy, I can't screw it up tonight. Adam, thank you for joining.
Yeah. You weren't going to just thank Cassandra.
Yeah, I should have said, sorry, Cassandra couldn't be here tonight. Have a great night, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Good night, guys. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Adam. It was awesome. Your work's fantastic. See y'all next week.
Yeah, next week, Nate Schweitzer, and we're drawing the bear. It's going to be fun. All right.
There you go.
All right.
Have a
Bye.
good night.